팬데믹에 처한 우리 모두를 위한 말씀 2편 하나님께 돌아오십시오.
To get into the revelation of this book of Exodus, we must have an overall view. Apparently, you could see God's judgment, God's punishment upon Egypt, the Egyptian world. This is something on the surface. One more thing we have to see it. That is why God used 10 plagues. You know, I did say once, in this book, you have two big 10s. 10 plagues and 10 commandments. 10 is a complete number in perfection concerning the human life. Now, in order to deal with the human life, in order to make the human life manifest to all God's people, God used also 10 plagues. And these 10 plagues, as we have seen, were divided into 4 groups. And the first 3 groups, each one has 3 plagues, right? Then the last group will be of only 1 plague. Altogether 10. We have covered the first group of 3. Do you still remember those 3 plagues with 3 words signifying the real meaning? Blood, then what? Flood, then lies. Blood was what? Was water, right? Blood was water. And the frost came out of the water, and lies came out of dust of the earth. In other words, in those 3 plagues as a group, you could see both the water and the earth were judged or were exposed. Both were judged and were exposed. So by this you can see the first group covers the water and the earth. Now we come to the second group. In the second group of the plagues, 3 are here. The first one is what? Flies. You know, flies somewhat from the air and somewhat in the air, right? Then the second one is what? Pestilence. Pestilence is also something that goes on in the air. You know, the spreading of any kind of disease is by the air, right? In the air. And then, don't think I'm too much, huh? Don't think. Then you say, this is the third one of the second group is what? Boils upon man's body and cattle's body with blisters. By what way these boils came? By the way that Moses sprinkled the ashes into the air. By this you can see the second group of the 3 plagues was mainly to deal with the air. And we know you just have the water, you just have the earth. Without the air, you cannot live. So I just like to point out to you, don't think I'm too much. You see, not only the kind of punishment. I say again, this is just a kind of punishment. There was no need for God to spend so much time. If this is just for judgment, I tell you, God can wipe out. Right? God can wipe out. What is this? This is just to show the fallen people their resources, the sources of the livelihood should be just like blood, frogs, and less. You see, God did this in a fine way to teach the people, even to teach us. Even today, we Christians need this kind of teaching. We need to see the resources of all our life supplies, I tell you, are just blood, frogs, and lice from the water and from the earth. But this is not all, so God went on to give the people more lessons. Another lesson, another lesson, another 3 lessons, another group. And this group is just to deal with the air. Don't think the water is under God's judgment, the earth is, but also the air is. The air is. Let me say this. Yes, God created the heavens for the earth. And God created the earth for man's existence. So both heaven and the earth are for man's existence. But man got fallen. Man got fallen. According to God's righteousness, God should have come in already to get the whole thing. But God had His intention, you see, to accomplish His eternal purpose through man. So God didn't come in to judge, but God did something still to keep the universe under what, you know? Let me tell you, under the redemption of Christ. Under the redemption of Christ. If you get into the New Testament, you could see why after man's fall, God didn't come in to judge the whole universe, because God intended to keep man. So God still keeps the whole universe under the redemption of Christ. And this means what? I tell you, this means when these plagues were exercised by God, God took away the redemption. Right after Adam's fall, the whole heaven and earth should be just collapsed, judged by God. But God didn't do it. Well, why man fell? Man sinned against God's righteousness and came short of God's glory. Yet God didn't come in to judge how God's righteousness could be maintained. The answer is this. In chapter 3 of Genesis, you see the redemption came in. Right? The redemption came in. The Lamb of redemption came in. That was Christ. The redemption of Christ. In God's view, God saw the redemption of His Son. Under the redemption of His Son, God is righteous to keep the whole universe. So you see, according to what Pharaoh did, according to what Egyptian did to God's people, I tell you, the whole Egypt should be what? Should be judged, should be punished. But God didn't do it. Why? Because even with the Egyptians, God still looked at them through the redemption of Christ. Even today, I tell you, even today, if there's no redemption of Christ, I tell you, all the moon, the sun, and all the planets will just fall down. In the whole earth, there's nothing that can keep it. Today, the earth and the heaven, and the heaven with the earth, they both still could remain for the fallen man to live. I tell you, this is altogether because of the redemption of Christ. I tell you, isn't God righteous? The righteous God, how could the righteous God tolerate with today's sinful world? Day by day, night by night, all the nightclubs, all the casinos are sinning against God.
Right.
How could the righteous God tolerate these kind of things? But God's answer is this: I love the world. I look at the world through the redemption of my sin. Oh, the redemption of Christ means a lot. Means a lot. But, now it's all together up to God's timing. Could you see this? Now in Egypt, the God timing came. That God had to put aside the redemption and expose all the follies of Pharaoh and the Egyptians to his righteous judgment. While he was judging, he was still merciful. Could you see? He didn't come in and wipe out the whole Egypt. He didn't. He gradually turned the water into blood and called for the frogs and produced so many lies. And then now what? Now he called for swarms of flies. This is not just to judge, to punish. This is what? This is to expose, to warn, to bother you, hoping that you could have a return. Am I right? Hoping that you could have a return to God.
맘대로 멀리 방랑하면서 죄에 깊이 빠진 너, 피곤한 너를 얻으시려고 참고 기다리는 주, 돌아오기만을 기다리시네. 그 어떠한 자든지 구원하여 주려 기다리시니 다만 주를 의뢰해. 너는 여러 번 주의 부르심 거절하고 가지만 주의 사랑은 변하지 않고 너를 제초하시네. 돌아오기만을 기다리시네. 그 어떠한 자든지 구원하여 주려 기다리시니 기다린다. 주가 오라고 말씀하실 때 원한다고 말하라. 돌아오기만을 기다리시네. 그 어떠한 자든지 구원하여 주려 기다리시니. 다만 주를 의뢰해. 돌아오기만을 기다리시네. 그 어떠한 자든지 구원하여 주려 기다리시니. 다만 주를 의뢰해.
다음 주는 팬데믹에 처한 우리 모두를 위한 말씀 3편으로 주님의 다시 오심과 믿는 이의 태도입니다.